attitude. He's a boss. He is a boss. Right there.
We have our photographer for the next 10 minutes. That is it.
Okay, everybody. Be quick on your toes. We have an excellent photographer for the next 10 minutes, and we want to try and get a solidarity photo of all of us together and do a solidarity photo for some comrades who are here from Hawaii who have brought an awesome flag with them. If you are those comrades, please come up here and get your flag, and just in general, find your seats as quickly and safely as you can so we can take a picture. You tell that we can't do that. That's too much chaos for right now. No, they just wanted a quick, like. We can, but we just don't have time now. Okay. 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 I would be uncomfortable taking the time to get everybody up on this stage.
Yeah, I went to them 5 minutes ago, so we have like 2:20 probably in there.
I'm sorry. If we want to do that, we could just stake out a longer, like, could we maybe have a... Okay. I mean, we're back at time. He's going to go over there.
He's like an international UNICEF and Amnesty International. Great. Perfect. So wait, we'll plan for that. So
Okay.
So we've got some people don't want their photo taken. They need to like.
Okay. Okay, we're getting ready for our photo. If you happen to be somebody who does not want your photograph taken, I suggest that you move against that wall for a little while because we're going to take the photo from that angle, from that balcony up there. Hi, wave to our photographer. But again, just to reiterate, if you don't want your face in the photograph, please move to the side of the room that's at your right. Over there. Yeah. Yes. So let's start with the DSA photo because I don't see the comrades who wanted the flag photo yet. Okay, just to reiterate, if you could as quickly and as safely as possible get to your seats for our photos. And again, if you don't want to be in the photos, you don't want your face in them, please move to that side of the room. Yes, it is. I'll get that out of your way.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure.
It is.
So what's the photo about?
The photo, one photo is just for our records of the convention, and then another photo is, they're both going to be from up there, but one we're going to wave a Hawaiian flag. Oh, you can feel free. I think if you were right here, you're probably not going to end up. All right. So we're going to take 2 photos. The first is just a general one. Wave up to our photographer up there so you make eye contact with him so you know where you're looking. And then for our second photo, it's going to be a solidarity photo, and I'm going to hand it over to my comrade here to explain what we are in solidarity with.
Hi, y'all. I'm Mikey Inoue. I use he, him pronouns. I'm with the Democratic Solstice of Honolulu. We struck the A from my name because we're an illegally occupied sovereign nation. And so are y'all, just saying. We've been, our chapter has been doing a lot of organizing around Mauna Kea. I just came from there after living there for about 3 weeks with the rest of the Lahui, the Kanaka Maoli community. In those 3 weeks, they have built an incredible community that has free healthcare, free food, free shelter, free childcare, and the first tuition-free university for Native Hawaiian learning. It is an incredible place. It is the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced. And so we're trying to get like a solidarity photo, and this has been kind of like the solidarity sign for Mauna Kea. And so I would love if y'all would participate in that, and also, for the photo. Thank you. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I want to explain that this flag, it does have the Union Jack on it. There's a compelling historical reason for why that is. I won't get into it now, but it was kind of gratitude for the UK, restoring sovereignty after, taking it. Also, I just want to, if any of you are interested in talking with me later about your own solidarity actions with Mauna Kea where you live, there are a lot of universities, especially the UC schools, that are supporting this through AURA, which is a consortium of, astronomers. So, and the Gordon and Betty Moore Foundation in California as well. So if you want to help organize with that, please feel free to talk to any of us from the Hawaii delegation after this. Thank you so much. Mahalo.
Sorry, too many people talking to me at once. I'll revisit you in a second. Okay, we're going to lose the photographer in 2 minutes. Look alive, people. All right, solidarity sign is our flag. I'm going to just look over at our photographer and see if he can give me a signal. Can he? Oh, he's on the phone. We'll hold on a second. Sorry, guys. Organized chaos. That's socialism. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Wow, so good, guys. All right, we're going to do one more. ASL claps. All right, one more for solidarity, okay? Just general solidarity. You can certainly still be in solidarity with our comrades from Hawaii. Fist or... Okay. Thank you, guys. Whew. All right. I'm going to get started with a lot of announcements. Please bear with me. First of all, this is just me noticing something out loud as the chair. And you can take me up if you wish, or you can ignore me. I have noticed that a lot of our points of information and our points of parliamentary inquiry and our points in general are coming from just about the same 6 to 8 people. I would suggest that you practice being socialist organizers and you see if you can recruit somebody else to make your point. That's usually a good indication if it's a good point to make. Second, I have received some questions about the marshals who are helping to sort of convene the progressive stack. Just so everybody is clear, the marshals at all of the mics are actually not delegates. There's been a concern that they may be politically motivated. None of them are delegates, so just putting that out there. They're not stumping for specific resolutions. They're doing the Lord Marx's work. Second, we have implemented sort of a process because I have learned that there has been a lot of debate within the lines about whether the marshals' recommendations about the ordering and the stack are appropriate. So each mic now has 2 marshals. The second marshal is to settle disputes. I'm a little upset that it has come to that, but if there are disagreements in the stack about who should go first, again, there will be a second marshal there to make sure that it's an impartial decision. Let me just go through. And just so another point, the marshals are very aware that some identities are invisible, so as much as possible, they are proactively coming up to folks who are in the stack and just trying to get a sense of who they are and where they should be. Third, I've received a lot of complaints about, I know that some people just in general really prefer to stand. I'm one of those people. I'm very fidgety. I can't sit for very long. I think that's totally fine. But I'm just going to ask as much as possible if the folks who are standing could do so in the back. It's a little distracting to people on the sides, the movement. So please do that if you plan to stand for most of our sessions. And then just again, I want to reiterate what progressive stack is for the intents and purposes of this convention. Progressive stack is meant to ensure that people from historically oppressed and marginalized identities who often don't get heard from enough, not just at this convention, but also in broader society, have a fair chance to speak. It is not about sort of trading back and forth stories of who has the most relevant personal life experiences to speak to an item that's up for debate. So again, for the intents and purposes of this convention, progressive stack pertains to your identity. And then in a second, I am going to call up one of our marshals to sort of lay out some process changes that we have come up with so that we can keep these aisles clear, and they're going to explain that. But before I do, can you all just give them a huge round of ASL applause? They are amazing. They're so amazing. They were working through lunch to come up with a plan to keep us all safe, and I'm just so appreciative of them, and I hope you are too. So who would...
I am not a marshal. I'm Jen. I use she, her pronouns, and I organize with DSA Fort Worth. I'm very proud to be here with them this weekend. I want to take a second to speak to the marginalized people in this room. As socialists, we should be practicing harm reduction in everything that we do, and we have not done a great job of doing that this weekend. I want to take a second to honor you and the heartbreaking work that this is taking from every marginalized person in this room. It has been hard. I spent my lunch break working with the marshals to organize some space for us to center, ground, and process the harm that has been done this weekend. Whether it's accidental or not, we need some space and time to do that. I want to invite the marginalized people in this room to meet me after we adjourn at 5 in Augusta E. It's on this floor just directly across the hall. So we can spend some time in community just processing so that we can go out and continue to organize with each other. Thank you so much for your time.
And thank you, Comrade. Is there anybody else from the Marshals team who'd like to report about our setup for the mics? Okay, it sounds like we're okay with, oh, I see somebody. I'm just gonna give them time to come up. You don't need to run, we're okay.
Yeah, I'm Ted, he, him from Madison, Wisconsin. Thanks everyone for helping with the spirit of Progressive Stack and making sure that we're keeping each other accountable in this process. So the process is going to be there's going to be two marshals at each mic. The marshals are not going to be delegates. And one will, if you want to move up and stack, you're going to ask the marshal, hey, I would like to move up and stack. The marshal is going to make a decision on that. If you don't like that decision, you can appeal to the other marshal. And after that point, the decision is final. If you have any questions or concerns, please find someone with a green armband, and we'll talk it through. Thank you so much. Oh, yes. One more thing. So instead of people lining up in the aisles and blocking the aisles, we're also going to be seating delegates in the front. So there are seated space for the delegates, and we're going to use that space in the front instead of the aisles to for delegates to be sitting for, and then we'll put up the progressive stack there.
Point of information or clarity. Are there marginalized marshals, or are they all, like, I guess I want to know how many marginalized folks are represented by a marshal.
I don't know that I'm necessarily comfortable answering that question, especially since many identities are invisible.
Right, I understand. My main concern is not being represented and having.
Yeah, I understand. I think the best we can do is try and have a fair system where there's a second person to settle disputes. And I just really encourage people as much as possible, please respect our marshals. It's a very thankless task. And they are very, very critical to this operation we have going on right here. Okay. I think with that, I am going to hand things over to Chris Ridio, who's going to chair as we pick back up with our business. Oh, I do. I will announce that. But first, we have a vote to announce. Okay, the online vote, the results of the ballot vote on resolution number 9, establishing a national anti-fascist and direct action working group, that passed. It was very close, 521 in the affirmative to 493.
Wow.
Okay, so alrighty, so before lunch we began the discussion on Resolution 83, support the locals and make DSA accessible to all.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes.
My name is Jason, and I'm one of the authors of the resolution, and I request that the resolution be read again and that debate start over.
Okay. We haven't been actually reading the resolutions, but I was going to ask for a speaker for because we left it as a speaker for and against. So if one of the authors of the resolution wants to come up and reintroduce the resolution, that's fine with me. So do we have...
I'm one of the authors. I'd like to ask somebody to speak on my behalf, please.
Okay.
So just to clarify this point and why this is happening is because this was announced, and it was announced that we were going to lunch, and a lot of disabled folks left the room, including one of the authors who's not even present for the debate. That is why this is being requested. So happy to do this again, I guess. My name is Matt Rubin. I'm from Pittsburgh, DSA. My pronouns are he, him. We put together resolution to support the locals and make DSA accessible to all because if we're going to be a working class organization, we must be an organization which is actually accessible to the working class. The working class is disabled. The working class doesn't all speak English. The working class has kids. The working class makes up a lot of folks who might need some accommodation, some resources, some work from able-bodied comrades, from folks who might not need work to be present in spaces. We got to do some work to make this space accessible to folks. And so we have things to do that we aren't doing, and we need to dedicate some resources to making our space accessible. As a national organization with national resources, we are best fit to do that with national resources because it becomes more expensive when we do that at the local level. It doesn't become less money that gets spent. It becomes more money that gets passed on to the locals and gets more expensive if you're doing it at the local level. We can, have national contracts with translating companies or, a big enterprise Zoom account, whatever. But we can figure this out. We can empower disabled comrades with an accessibility task force to make recommendations, to have 5% of the budget at their discretion. And if you think that's expensive, I want to be clear that do you think at least 5% of our members are disabled? Do you think at least 5% of our members will be disabled if we make this organization accessible? And if you're worried about the idea of ADA accessibility, I would really like you to think about why this law exists, why disabled folks fought for decades for that. And also, I want to be clear that your chapter won't shut down if you fail to make it ADA compliant. What's going to happen is you're going to have to, as able-bodied folks who failed to do that, say, hey, we failed to do this. This is why. This is what we're working on. And folks who did it are going to say, we did this, this is why, and this is what we're working on. And again, I'm going to say again, for disabled folks, for abled folks, please be extremely discriminate against, not let disabled folks speak.
Do we have a speaker against?
Hi, my name is Kate Wagner, and I am a delegate from Baltimore DSA. My pronouns are she, her. Please forgive my shaking. I came before you, the chair, today as a person on the autism spectrum, and I would like to take issue first with comrades speaking on my behalf as if all people with disabilities, both visible and invisible, have easily definable and checklistable needs. As someone who is involved also in the architectural profession, I first want to challenge the resolution's use of ADA compliance as a standard. Those of us with disabilities in architecture have long held issues with ADA as a standard that restricts the concept of accessibility to mostly, if not exclusively, include mobility issues only. ADA does nothing to help people with disabilities like mine. Accessibility is not a checklist that can be easily standardized across chapters. It is specific to the needs of the individual, and accommodating those needs requires trust, acceptance, and good faith in our comrades to help us be the best DSAers we can be. This resolution creates a body that has access to unlimited funds that everyday members, including us with disabilities, cannot hold accountable, and that will make decisions on our behalf and the behalf of our comrades who work at the local level to accommodate us. The task force may have gender and racial quotas, which are important, but there's nothing in the resolution about disability that covers the wide range of diversity amongst those with disabilities. Those with autism like me and those with limited mobility like members of my chapter have vastly different needs. I urge my comrades to vote no on this amendment and to listen to disabled comrades in all of their wonderful diversity, tell their own stories and speak to their own needs, rather than have a shadowy body with an unlimited budget and no means of recall to speak for us. I ask to remember, nothing about us without us. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have a speaker in favor of the resolution?
Hi, my name's Cassidy. I'm from Middle Tennessee DSA. I use she, her, or they, them pronouns. I'm also on the autism spectrum, and I also have some limited physical mobility. Last night, the Disability Working Group met. About 40 people got together to discuss our realities within DSA, and often those realities are that we are not accommodated for, we are not included, we are not thought of. And even when we are included and thought of, it is often an afterthought. It is often a last minute, well, I guess we can make sure that you can use the stairs, or it's not enough. We endorsed this as a bare minimum beginning. This is a great place to start. ADA is a bare minimum as it is. I know that it's not enough for people with intellectual, mental, and sensory disabilities. I know it's not enough, but it is a baseline, and it is well laid out as it stands. To the point that was made earlier that this is not a democratic method because of the way funding is, that is older language that is not in keeping with the current form of this resolution. I really, really would like you to support this as a disabled person, as a comrade, as someone who wants to be here.
Thank you. Do we have a speaker against?
Hi, my name is Danya Lagos, she, her, New York City DSA, and I just want to address the comments that were made to comrades who, we don't know who here is disabled or abled. Lots of disabilities are invisible, including mine, and I want to say that tacking on 5% of a budget to a resolution that also includes a wide-ranging 3% of the budget that is not specifically earmarked towards accessibility reflects a lot of sort of like pork barrel spending that gets added to bills in our dysfunctional Congress. That if we just add this thing to this thing and try to shame people into voting for it, then it'll pass. And I think we are all better than that. And I think that we could have pushed for something that would have addressed these disability issues without insulting our comrades by adding a 3% that has nothing to do with disability. Thank you.
I'd like to move to call the question.
Okay, we have a call for the question from the back. Is there a second? Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to call the question on Resolution 83. All of those in favor of ending debate, raise your cards. All of those opposed? Motion fails. We'll take a speaker for. And before you start, one thing. What I'm gonna try and do is have speaker for and against, so that before somebody wants to call the question again, I'm gonna make sure that we have sort of an even-handed approach on this and on future resolutions.
Point of information?
Point of information, yes.
I was wondering if Aaron, she, they, New York City, I was wondering if the authors or someone from National or the MPC could kind of speak to what kind of work is, I'm assuming, hopefully, that some of this work is already being done, and sort of what's kind of already being done and what is missing that this resolution may resolve.
Is there someone who can speak to current national level activities on this? We can see if we can find somebody who can address that question.
I'm an author. I'm right here. Hi.
Okay, you're going to speak to what currently is being done at the national level?
Comrade Chair, you have to recognize me, so I'm just asking if you would like the author's opinion first. I can't tell Comrade Chair what they'd like me to do.
Okay. Yes, if you want to speak to the resolution, that's fine.
Could we restate the question from the comrade, please?
Is the person who made that point of information still up there?
Yes, I am.
Go ahead. Can you restate your question?
Yes. So I was just generally wondering what that is contained in the proposal. Is National already doing? My hopeful assumption is that some of this is already being done. And what is this resolution doing to fill the gaps of that?
Okay.
Basically, what's already being done to address these issues, if anything?
What's already being done by the national organization to address these issues is the question.
Okay. Well, I'm going to use this convention as a prism with which to look at this. There have been a lot of things that have been done in the name of accessibility, but I don't know what's been accomplished. I came into this convention and I was asked to do a few things to help, and what should have been a quick 30 to 45-minute run-through turned out to be a 2-hour run-through. I checked elevators. Some of the elevators weren't working. People were put on upper floors, and floors, up there, they're being disenfranchised while they're being told it's a quiet room. They're being told it's a sensory room. They're nursing children. I mean, in the name of accessibility, a lot's being done, but I don't think anything's really being done that's accomplishing anything just in terms of this convention. I can tell you that I've done a lot of help with this, and I appreciate the help that's been done, but I'm sorry, I can't speak to what's going on outside this convention, but if you use this as a prism, not much. Sorry.
Point of information.
We have a point of information in the back.
Adam, he, his, Columbus. So this resolution includes a link in the text. This resolution includes a link in the text. Should we assume we are voting to adopt all of the language at that link in addition to the text of the resolution itself?
What's on the floor is the resolution itself that's linked here.
I would say that yes, you should. My understanding, based off of conversations I've had with the authors and the text of the resolution, is that yes, by adopting this resolution, you are adopting the full policy that is linked in the resolution.
Okay. Thank you, Natalie. Okay, we're back now to a speaker for and a speaker against. Somebody want to speak for the resolution?
Drew Marie, Metro DC, they, them, theirs. I have 2 invisible disabilities, and I am normally not someone who needs accessibility, but from listening to what was going on in the disability working group meeting last night, that got my pumped up and just anyway. This is where I want to speak on this is we do not need to, or we cannot keep, what do we need to do to make this accessible? How do we make it accessible? No, it's bake it in from the get-go. Get it on the ground floor. This is make it accessible from the ground floor, not we've got this going on. What do we do to make it more accessible? Thank you.
Do we have a speaker against?
May I make a point of inquiry?
Yes.
Is this document that was linked out to, is anybody able to edit it, or is it by national? Okay, thank you.
The document is something that I believe was submitted by the authors of the resolution and not editable per se. Is that?
No, I think that it would be in order to treat this, for example, if somebody wanted to edit the policy document that's linked, the same rules for floor amendments would stand. We did not receive any amendments for debate during the in-order amendments period in advance of the convention.
Thank you. Speaker against.
Brendan Davison, he, him, Kansas City. Comrades, like many of the other speakers, I too suffer from invisible disabilities. I suffer both from autism spectrum disorder and ADHD, and it is incredibly nerve-wracking for me to come up here and admit that. I'm thankful that we are at least able to have this conversation, but I rise in negation to this resolution because it simply does not address the question. Throwing money at this problem will not make DSA accessible. The answer lies in having real conversations about how we make it inviting, how we make it open and safe for people like me who have ADHD, who have autism, who have other invisible disabilities as well as physical disabilities to discuss their problems and understand how we achieve disability liberation. That's what is necessary here, not just more money. Well, I think this is well intended, and I applaud the author for his intent. It is not the solution that is necessary. And I urge you to vote no on this resolution so we can have a real conversation about real solutions to this problem. And I yield my time to the floor.
Thank you. Speaker in favor?
Hello, Charlotte, she, her from Nassau DSA, Nassau County, Long Island. I am on the autistic spectrum. I have depression and anxiety, and a lot of points are being made against is that it's a waste of money. Someone's actually crying because they feel that someone is actually crying to me because they feel that the against them is a waste, and it's not. And the money is not the whole issue. It's not the whole solution. And we're not trying to shame you into voting for it. It's just asking you as comrades just to open for all of us. That's all. And it's really not a big deal. So it's really easy just to vote for it, in my opinion. I yield my time.
Madam Chair.
Speaker against. Do we have a question back here?
Yeah, I would just like to move the previous question.
Okay,
but I understand that there's
a
a
previous question. I'm going to have another speaker against.
All right. Hi, my name is Sasha. I'm from San Francisco, and I use she, her pronouns. I'd also consider myself a disabled comrade with an invisible disability. And I've seen so many of the struggles of disabled comrades to participate in DSA. I've ran into accessibility issues in my local, and I really, really want to make sure that we get something passed today so that people feel seen. And because of that, I'm going to raise an issue that I have with the measure. I think that the current section about ADA compliance, I completely agree that ADA it's both contested and in some cases a bare minimum. But like San Francisco is one of the wealthiest chapters. We actually do have an office, and even our office is not ADA compliant. We don't have disabled parking spaces. We don't have any parking spaces. And I worry that setting a goal of 100% compliance by 2021 is not realistic, and therefore it makes it less actionable. So I would like to move to amend, to suspend the rules and amend this proposal. And I have a link to the text of the amendment I'd like to propose.
I can withdraw my motion to move the question.
Okay, thank you. So the motion on the floor is to suspend the rules to allow for an amendment to this resolution. Okay, now.
Should I discuss what the amendment is?
Needs a second and no debate. So it needs a second. There's no debate. Okay, it's been made and seconded. There's no debate. So the motion is to suspend the rules to allow an amendment on this resolution. All of those in favor, raise your cards. All of those opposed, motion fails. So we're back to
point of information.
Yes. Who's?
Sorry, I was actually in line for point of information.
Go ahead.
So based on, I'm sort of confused by the comments earlier around the link that was provided in the compendium. From my understanding, if it's just a link that redirects to a Google Doc, that could be edited after the deadline. I'm not certain if this was if this was the actual text of the resolution or if this was submitted or edited in a Google Doc post-deadline. I'd like to ask the Resolutions Committee, did you receive this plan or this text submitted, or did you receive just a link?
So I'm going to make a couple of explanations. We had a rule, or shall I say, we had a guideline for our resolutions that they should not exceed about 1 page. This is a guideline to try and make it easier to debate resolutions on the floor, because then you can project them in full and people actually understand what they are voting on. The authors felt that this resolution needed a longer policy document that was not possible to get condensed within 1 page. So as it stands, what this resolution says is that the convention, if passing this, would adopt the longer policy document. To the point about whether it's editable, I have no reason, I did receive it in advance. I have no reason to believe that there's been any impropriety. The authors did notify me within the friendly amendments period about changes to it that were acceptable and that were noted in the compendium. I can verify that and track changes. And I would only announce something if there was an issue, but I have no reason to believe whatsoever that this was adjusted in some inappropriate way.
Is there a speaker for?
Point of information?
Point of information, yes.
Hi, Shelby from DSA LA. Kind of to the last one, I wanted to ask about, I noticed that in the Google Doc, the last date modified within the Google Doc was July 23rd, and I know that the deadline for amendments was the 16th, so I just wanted to ask about how that's squared.
So to be frank, we received an absolutely unbelievable, exhausting number of friendly amendments that we were not prepared for, and it took time to work through them. They all come in at like midnight on the day of the deadline, and I cannot snap my fingers between midnight and whenever and make them happen. So it did take some time in the next few days after the deadline to process them and make them updated in the documents. I will put my own eyes on this and look, but again, I have no reason to believe that there was any impropriety.
Thanks.
So, Speaker 4.
Point of privilege. A question of privilege.
Yes.
I just want to remind people to watch their tone of voice while discussing this very heated topic. I noticed that some of the individuals from the disability working group were looking incredibly stressed out and possibly on the verge of tears. And I know that people feel very strongly about this, but keep in mind, focus on the content of what you're saying and watch the tone that you say it with.
Thank you. Speaker in favor of the resolution.
Hello, my name is Nathan Ailey's. I use he, him pronouns. I have glaucoma and Asperger's syndrome, but I'm very high functioning. And also, what's the other one? I guess anxiety and depression. And it's very difficult to be in DSA. And I think this resolution would make it easier for people to participate that have disabilities. And people with disabilities are very effective in advocating for themselves. And we can be ambassadors for Medicare for All, and we just need some help doing this. And DSA should support our oppressed people, and seeing as our people with disabilities are some of the most oppressed people in the entire world, we should fight for people with disabilities and our comrades with disabilities and our oppressed people. So you should support this amendment to make it easier for us to fight for DSA and Medicare for All and all these things and abolish capitalism. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker against.
Hi, my name is Kate Schneider. I use she, her pronouns. I'm from Austin, DSA. I feel that one of the biggest challenges I have experienced personally in DSA is when having concerns about the implementation of a specific policy is conflated with being against the overall idea behind that policy. Making that assumption prevents a nuanced discussion from taking place. I feel very, very deep faith that I share similar end goals and vision, and my differences with other socialists are a matter of strategy, not values. But I fear rhetoric that conflates these two things. That being said, I am standing in front of this microphone today to speak against resolution number 83. This resolution places almost 8% of National's budget under the control of undemocratic committees that are unaccountable to the national body without a clear understanding of how these budgets were determined. I thank my disabled comrades for sharing their experiences regarding the accessibility portion of this amendment, but I want to note that this resolution also contains a large piece affecting how DSA is structured in regards to locals. I believe that locals and the national organization can grow strong together, and that these two ideas are not in opposition with each other, and that we must make space enough for both of these structures to exist. Capital's power has local, national, and international influence, and we must build structures that can fight it and confront it at all of these levels. Strong locals are able to share their victories and best practices with other locals through National. National doesn't come up with its literature and resources in a vacuum. They come from chapters, like the pressuring your local congressman for M4A, something that Austin DSA and Congressman Doggett are very familiar with. I thank you all today, and I yield the floor.
I have a point of inquiry.
Point of inquiry.
There have been, can the chair, because we haven't been able to project the entirety of the resolution, account for what money is being allocated by this resolution and which bodies would be responsible for dispersing it? There have been a bunch of claims about it.
A second, but yes.
Yeah. The question is, can we account for the monies that are being projected, since we can't see the whole resolution at once on the screen? Natalie is going through, and we'll have a response in
Well,
a minute.
Some of the numbers are on the screen now. I don't personally have too many more details to explain a rationale. If there's someone on staff who could come up, they may be able to. I didn't create this budget analysis.
Yeah, sorry, I understand that. I would just like to have an accounting of how the money is dispersed to which groups and which groups oversee that.
Sure.
not just a total lump sum, although I appreciate that as well. Thank you.
So my understanding is that this resolution establishes a what's called the Support the Locals Committee, and that it would be, let me just scroll down. So in one place, the resolution calls for the establishment of such a committee, and then later it directs at least 3% of the organization's national budget towards, the activities of their committee and towards accessibility in general. But it's not my understanding that that would be only within the purview of this committee, since budgetary matters are ultimately signed off by, the National Political Committee is ultimately responsible for those final decisions.
Call to question. Jason, Brooklyn, New York, call to question.
Question has been called. Is there a second?
There is a second.
Okay, the motion has been made and seconded to call a question on Resolution 83. We'll move to a vote. All of those in favor
Point of personal privilege.
Okay, there was an amendment before. I'm not trying to make everybody mad here.
The amendment, the motion to suspend.
I haven't
the
even
rules
finished
failed.
talking. That's okay. That's just another example of what I'm talking about here, but that's all right.
No, the motion to suspend the rules to amend the resolution failed.
Can I finish what I said, though, please? I don't know if the amendment that came up before, it wasn't. There's a reason for this. I'm saying this. So the amendment that wasn't on the screen, I don't know his amendment. I have somebody coming.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but there was a motion to suspend the rules to allow for an amendment. That motion failed, so there's no amendment on the floor. What's on the floor is the call for the question on Resolution 83.
Okay.
The resolution is as it's written.
I understand. Okay. So I will yield, and I apologize to the body.
Thank you.
Can you?
The motion on the floor is call a question to close debate on Resolution 83. All of those in favor of closing debate, raise your cards. All of those opposed, motion carries. We'll now move to a vote on Resolution 83. Support the locals and make DSA accessible to all. All of those in favor of Resolution 83, raise your cards. All of those opposed, motion fails. Okay. I'm now going to turn the chair over to Beth, who's going to take on our next block of resolutions, which is labor.
Point of personal privilege. Point of personal privilege.
Sure, on point.
So my point of personal privilege as an ally of the Disabilities Working Group and of Resolution 83 is that because of my ability to walk, speak, sit, listen, see, and tolerate a fairly high level of discomfort and disgust, I've been able to get to this microphone, understand what is being said, even come up with answers to the complex questions that were asked by people who are opponents of this resolution, and even think of certain responses that could be made to those questions. No one... So I just want to call attention to the way in which we may be reproducing the problem that this resolution seeks to overcome, and to also acknowledge the fact that, like so much else that we do for people with disabilities and that people with disabilities do for themselves, let's be honest with ourselves. Do we really think MPC was going to give $400,000 to a new committee?
Continuing debate.
I say that in good faith. I say...
I know. I acknowledge that you are probably speaking in good faith. This was an incredibly contentious debate. If we can assume good intent from each other, we are trying to build a better world together. Let's, if I could have a moment where everyone just let's take a deep breath in and out before we move on. So on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3. And out. Okay, we will get through this. Let's acknowledge that lots of us are carrying a lot with us and a lot of people with us into this convention. We are trying to build this together. And with that, we're going to move into the labor section.
I would like to make a motion.
Sure.
Olivia, she, her, Portland, Oregon. I move to suspend the rules and adopt resolutions 50, 35, and 62 as one question, with debate limited to 2 speakers for and against, provided that a motion to extend debate shall be in order. So resolution 35 is BDS working group, resolution 50 is decolonization, and resolution 62 is Cuba solidarity.
Okay. So we would need to, in order to do that, I believe we would need to suspend the rules.
Yes, I moved to suspend the rules.
Hold on. Could I get a pen? Sorry, would you mind, would the comrade mind repeating the resolution numbers again?
Yes, 35, 50, and 62. This is in the interest of time. Our 50 is already on the agenda for Sunday, and putting it in this sort of package will allow the body to consider these extremely important related issues quickly.
Okay, so there's been a motion first we would need to suspend the rules. Can I get a motion to suspend the rules?
Okay. I moved to suspend the rules.
Is there a second? Okay, so all those in favor of suspending the rules to take up resolutions 35, 50, and 62, please raise your placards. All opposed? That carries. Okay, so we're going to suspend the rules to take up resolutions 35, 50, and 62.
As one question.
As one question.
Yes. Can I motivate?
With 2 speakers for and
Yes.
2 speakers against
Yes.
maximum. Are there any objections to doing that? Seeing none.
Objection. I appeal the decision of the chair that was 2/3 majority.
Sorry, I made a mistake. My question, if there is an objection, sorry, I should not have said that. We just voted to do that. So if I could actually get speakers for and against at these microphones right now, or in time, that would be great. So if you are planning to speak for or against resolutions 35, 50, or 62, this would be the time to take those up right now.
Yes.
Sorry, this is all happening very quickly. So let's have a little patience. And so with that, if I could get folks' attention. Okay. Is there a speaker for? Yes. Go ahead.
Okay, my name is Olivia. I'm with the Portland chapter. I helped co-author the 2017 BDS resolution. I am an unapologetic Arab, and I stand proudly with all my brothers and sisters here and around the world that have had to bear the brunt of empire. Puerto Rico is experiencing a coup attempt by the Colonial Control Board against the democratic interests of the people of Puerto Rico. Hawaii, which is also covered by Resolution 50, is demonstrating indigenous resistance to protect Mauna Kea. Palestinians continue to be occupied, expelled, and killed by the Israeli occupying forces. We've already endorsed BDS, and those of us who authored that resolution just want an official body authorized by the national org so we can do the work more efficiently and be supported by our organization. These resolutions are minimal cost, and together they establish a BDS working group, a decolonization working group, and join the national network of Cuba. If our socialism is truly international, then we shouldn't be kicking these things down to the NPC as low priority. We should show our support right here, 1,000 socialists strong as a delegation. We have a world to win must mean bottom-up transnational liberation, not domination and imperial aggression. From Puerto Rico to Palestine, freedom is the bottom line.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
On point.
I'm not sure why there's a line here. Robert's rules says that anyone can make a parliamentary motion from the floor. It needs to be recognized by the chair, and then they can step up to the mic and make their motion. So,
yes, that is true, and it is much easier to chair this debate when there's a line. So if you can get to that mic, please do. If you cannot, we will run a mic to you, but it is definitely our preference, if possible, for you to get to the mic.
Right, just that we shouldn't be like ordering all these motions. Folks should be making their motions from the floor, be recognized by the chair, and then come to the mic is my point. Thanks.
Okay, is there a speaker against?
Hi, Brandon Ray Ramirez, he, him, DSA Los Angeles. I believe in the spirit of all of these resolutions. I don't think that there's anyone here who does not believe that we should have international solidarity. However, I've served on the National Immigrant Rights Working Group. I'm currently on the International Committee. We have just recently established an International Committee. We have an Immigrant Rights Working Group that has legitimacy. And what we need to do is we have under both the Immigrant Rights Working Group and the International Committee, we can be working on Palestine solidarity, we can be working on decolonization, and we can show Cuba solidarity. If you look at the consent agenda, we passed open borders. If you look at the consent agenda, we've also prioritized working to prioritize Latin America in collaboration with the NPC and making sure that we have consistent political education there. There's plenty of opportunity to be doing this. When we have more resolutions that create more working groups, what that's doing is it's dividing the capacity that we have to actually do this international work. We have a limited number of people who are going to have either the experience or the interest in doing this work. The more we try and divide that at the national stage, the less we're going to have the real capacity to have effective work. Thank you.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, on point.
My name is Kate Wagner, she, her, Baltimore. I noticed earlier, speaking back on disability, people passing out signs. I ask that you not wave signs or do thumbs up or hiss or boo. This is very distracting to those of us with sensory disabilities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Please don't wave signs.
Point of personal privilege.
Yes, on point.
Rob, North Jersey, he, him. I'm sure this is all in good faith, but I just need to say this is very confusing. I think we should take a 5-minute formal break to review the resolutions and to progressive stack line speakers up in an appropriate way rather than rushing through. There's nothing to stop someone from calling the question as soon as I'm done speaking. If that were to occur, I have no idea what's going on. And if there's other people who agree with that, I hope we can just take an informal 5-minute break to address this from the floor formally. Thank you.
Okay, I don't totally understand your request, but let me try to clarify what I believe is happening. We'll see if my reality is your reality. So my understanding is that there was a motion from a comrade to take up 3 resolutions as one proposal. Those 3 resolutions are number 35, which is establish a national BDS and Palestine Solidarity Working Group, number 50, which is decolonization, self-determination, anti-imperialism, and finally, number 62, which is Cuba solidarity. So my understanding is that we are taking up those 3 resolutions as one proposal, and that we were going to have 2 speakers for and 2 speakers against. So when we all vote, after we hear 1 more speaker for and 1 speaker against, you're voting on all 3 of those at once.
Thank you. And I make a motion for a 5-minute recess where people do not leave their seats so we can properly address the motion on the floor.
What do you mean by properly address?
I'm saying we should have the resolutions projected on the screen. People should have the time to read them in front of them. In addition, because there are people now bum rushing the front, we should have progressive stack put in correct order or the most appropriate order. And I think that requires a bit of a break because of the irregular nature of what we're currently doing.
Okay, so let's project a couple of them on the screen, but I'm going to go to Natalie for a moment.
So I'm just giving commentary. I'm just trying to give the convention enough information to decide on these questions. As I understand it, some of these resolutions didn't make the threshold for the convention based off of the poll. So if you are looking for them in the spreadsheet with the agenda for the convention that was sent out to delegates, you're not going to find them there. They're in the compendiums that are linked on the website at www.dsausa.org/national-convention. if this motion to recess passes, we can get them up. It's just going to take a little time. We also can't project all three of them at once. So it might actually be very logistically difficult to carry that out. Thank you.
Okay, so there's been a motion to recess for 5 minutes to read the resolutions. All those in favor, and you are not supposed to leave the room. We're really just going to try to take 5 minutes. Is there a second? I hear a second. All those in favor of taking a 5-minute recess, please raise your placards. All those opposed? That fails. So I'm going to go back to one speaker for.
I have a point of information.
Yes.
I just want to know why 35 and 62 didn't make it on our agenda, and I'm assuming it's because they got less support than other resolutions. And so can we know what was the cutoff and how much those resolutions got?
Yes.
Thanks.
We can pull that up. Natalie, can you answer now?
It would be cumbersome for me to pull up the percentage of the poll for each one of them, but I can reiterate that the threshold for the consent agenda was 60% support in the poll, and that some of them did not, or excuse me, hold on. I'm misstating. Hold on.
Okay, I'm going to put that on hold for now. I'm going to have one speaker for.
Point of information.
Yes.
Alex Sahori, he, him, Lansing, DSA, Michigan. So it's my understanding that the International Committee is not open to general membership, and I just wanted to ask: are these working groups going to be open to general membership?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to go back to one speaker for, one speaker against. Name, chapter, pronouns.
My name is Kenny Luisa. I female pronouns, and I'm with Portland DSA. So reiterate, the International Committee is closed. You have to apply to get in. I understand that the contention is that, we did a straw poll and we prioritized the agenda, but we also have to keep into consideration the fact that mostly white dudes. This organization is mostly white dudes. And I feel like if we had a more diverse national organization, these things would have been prioritized. Of the 70-some resolutions, there were maybe 3 international ones. I myself, I'm an immigrant. I was born in Chile. And so, I urge the body not to recreate these problems that we've had chronically as a socialist movement, which is basically moving in a way that's very nationalist. We really need to move to being an international organization in solidarity with oppressed nationalities around the world, and specifically socialist movements. Thank you.
Okay. One speaker against, and then by the suspension of the rules and what we all agreed to do, we are going to vote after this.
Thank you. I think that we should take into consideration the resolutions that were approved in the consent agenda. I'm the author of Resolution 4, one of the authors of Resolution 4, and I believe that these resolutions actually conflict with that resolution that was already passed. And secondly, I want to also say thank you to the comment by Brandon Ramirez in the sense of all the national working groups that are being created actually prevent the organization from actually growing in its capacity. And I think we really need to focus on things at a national level. Secondly, I want to say that, as a person whose parents come from Central America and whose parents were formerly undocumented, that I think the conversation around marginalized identities is beginning to be really frustrating because it's being used on both sides. And I think at this stage we should just stop using it primarily as a tool to present a case and use it secondarily as just something that is not substantial of the issue in certain cases. These resolutions that are up for debate right now are actually, in my opinion, undemocratic because there are national working groups, and the International Committee has a relationship to external organizations, which is very different than relationships with our membership. And I think that we should really pay attention to how we look to all the external organizations like PSUHing, PSOL, the Workers' Party in Brazil, the Labour Party in England, because they're looking at us and they're not going to be taking us seriously if we don't have just one international committee dedicated to that work. So I really want all the delegates to take that into consideration and vote no on these resolutions.
Okay, so now we're going
Information question, please.
Yes.
On this, a lot of complex agenda here suddenly. The Cuba Solidarity Network, is it the case that this is a group very closely allied with the politics of the Cuban government as opposed to in solidarity with Cuba?
So I think that's a point of debate. So we're going to move into a vote. So voting yes means that you're voting to approve 3 resolutions at once. Hold on. And so those resolutions are Resolution 35, 50, and 62. Oh, I'm now recognizing you.
Thank you, Comrade Chair. My name is Miguel, he, him, East Bay. My question is directed to the motivators. I actually have a question about the National Network on Cuba. Resolution 62 calls on DSA to join the National Network on Cuba and submit an application within 30 days. What is the National Network on Cuba?
Okay, is there someone prepared to get to the mic? Sorry, will you please get to the mic?
Yes, sorry. Comrades, hello. Thank you very much. Forgive me, I don't excel at public speaking. I'm doing my darndest. My name is Tom Wojak, he, him. I am a member of the West Suburbs, Illinois DSA chapter and the author of the Cuba Solidarity Resolution. Last year, I was an American delegate that was sent to Cuba as part of a friendship brigade. I saw the effects of the embargo. I saw the human toll that it had on the people. I'm sorry.
What is the
yes
network?
I wasn't trying to speechify. My apologies. The National Network on Cuba is an extremely small American progressive organization composed of about 40 members that oppose the blockade. They do so by advocating for peaceful protest and education. Their job is to inform the American public while there is so much being held against it, so much things that are trying to stifle and interfere with Cuba. There is a wide degree of members in the NNOC. They range from very political to fairly apolitical. There's even a tour company, Marazul Tours, that's a member of the NNOC. And their power more than any specific action is to stand firmly and resolutely against the American embargo of Cuba that has gone on for 60 years. It is to stand in solidarity and friendship with the Cuban people that have been so hurt by this. And I think that were we to join the NNOC, the DSA could lend an enormous amount of power and support to making ending the embargo a mainstream issue. Thank you.
Okay.
I have a point of inquiry.
Yes.
What traditionally happens to resolutions that don't make the threshold to be debated at convention? How are they dealt with usually?
Okay, so I have the data now. Resolution 50 met the threshold for the agenda. The threshold for the agenda, to be clear, was a combination of both what had wide and deep support from delegates in the poll, but also just realistically how many things we could cram into 10 hours of debate. Resolution number 35 received 90 votes from delegates recommending their top 20 and 6 votes for delegates recommending their top 3. Resolution number 62 received 69 votes for top 20 and 9 votes for top 3. We had over 120 resolutions, CB changes, and amendments submitted for this convention. On average, it takes us more than 20 minutes to adopt one. So there were 80 plus items that did not make the threshold for this convention, and there may even be items on our agenda for this convention that we simply run out of time for. Resolutions that do not get debated at the convention or that we run out of time for may be taken up by the NPC after the convention, should they choose to act on them. However, since based off of our Constitution and bylaws, amendments to the Constitution and bylaws can only be adopted by the convention, ones that do not get debated and acted upon by the convention frankly die.
Okay. So let's vote on...
Motion to extend debate.
There's a motion to extend debate by how much?
By one more against.
By one more...
There was one before.
I'm afraid I'm going to rule that one out of order.
Okay. Two more speakers.
Two more speakers. Is there any objection to adding one more speaker on each side? There is. Okay. All those in favor of one more speaker for and one more speaker against, please raise your placards. Oh, it's going to take 2/3. Okay. And all those against? Okay, that fails. We're going to move into a vote. So again, I want to reiterate that we are voting on all three resolutions at once. Those three resolutions are to establish the BDS working group, the resolution on decolonization, and the resolution on Cuba solidarity. Let me finish my sentence.
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Sorry, let me finish my sentence, please. So we're going to vote on all three of those resolutions at once because that was how they were packaged together. Okay, so I will recognize your point. Hold on. So I recognize the speaker in the back.
Thank you. Would it be in order to motion to suspend the rules to make an amendment at this point in time, or is it out of order because we don't have
It's in order, but let's remember how many procedural motions we make.
I'd like to motion to suspend the rules in order to make a particular amendment to just one segment of one of the resolutions.
Okay, there's a motion to suspend the rules. It takes 2/3 to make an amendment to one of the resolutions. All those in favor of suspending the rules to take up an amendment, please raise your placards. All those opposed? That fails. Okay, so we're going to vote on all three resolutions right now.
Divide the question. Motion to divide the question.
Into all three? Okay.
Withdrawn if people don't want to.
Okay. So, wait.
A majority vote don't have to. The rules have been suspended to take all these as a package.
Okay. So
the majority vote will adopt all three.
Okay. So the rules have already been suspended to vote on all three at once. Okay. Okay. So we're again voting on all three resolutions at once. Those are number 35, BDS Working Group, number 50, Resolution on Decolonization, and number 62, Cuba Solidarity. All those in favor of adopting all three, please raise your placards. Okay, and all opposed? That fails. Okay. Division, okay. Okay, so...
Point of parliamentary inquiry.
Yep, so we're going to pull up the online voting again.
Comrade Chairperson.
Yeah.
Point of parliamentary inquiry. If the combined resolution question fails, will the resolutions that are currently on the agenda still be taken up at their scheduled time?
No. Okay.
I'd like to object to the division of the House and just call for another visual vote.
I don't think you can do that. Okay, so we've called for division, so we're going to pull up the online voting, and let's take a moment to do that.
Yeah. Like they sometimes like.
I have to admit, that was pretty clever. That guy wanted to extend the date by one debate.
No, you can't say something. No, that's not allowed.
I wonder who wanted to speak.
I know.
So just so you guys know, I'm Jeremy, by the way. I was here. And Maddie, thanks for doing this. So people don't have to wait in line to speak. They just, from anywhere on the floor. Okay. Great, but just, I completely understand, but just so you know that no one should be discouraged from saying exactly what they want, whenever they want it. Okay, that's great, because I've seen people get sensitive back in the line. Yeah, and that the point of the clarification that other comrade made, which the chair, yeah. So points of order don't have staff. That's actually completely against Robert's rules. There's no such thing as staff. Yeah. I completely understand. But that type of thing is then stopping people from making their motions, which they should be able to make exactly when they want to at any time. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so we should make sure that someone is explaining to them that they are encouraged to speak whenever they want. Okay, because people to the back of the line and they were complaining about that. Okay. Yeah. So the chair did clarify that people can speak from the floor. Yes.
Point of personal privilege, Brendan Davison, KC. The Irish Republican Caucus would like to advocate a yes vote.
Comrade Chair, with apologies to everyone, I have a point of privilege. It is unbelievably loud.
Hey, could everyone...
With apologies to the whole room, I rise to a point of personal privilege. It is unbelievably loud in here. Someone just said something. No one near me knows what it was. Please, can we just keep this chatter down, please?
Yes. Okay. Are we close on online voting? No? Oh, okay, great. Okay, let's take a few moments to vote online. If folks could get off of the, folks can use your own data if possible, so we don't seem like we're attacking the DSA website.
I'll read it out just in case anybody needs it. The bit.ly is bit, all lowercase, .ly/2, capital L, capital X, capital M, 2, lowercase I, capital F.
Point of information.
Yep.
How long, Madam Chair, Comrade Chair, how long will the voting period be open?
Sorry, what was that?
How long will the voting period be open?
Let's vote online when you can, and then let's actually start the debate on labor, as long as there are no objections to that, so that in the interest of speed. All right, there is an objection. All those in favor, all those in favor of taking up okay, let's just vote.
So I would recommend that we did what we did with the last time, which is we allow for voting through the end of this session. This session is scheduled to close at 4:30, and we will announce the results of this vote in the next session.
I missed all of that. What are we doing?
I think she recommended that they just you go ahead and go on with business while the county votes, while the process is taking place. They'll announce the vote.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of same as last.
Okay, we're going to do something similar to last time when we allow you to have a longer period to vote. So let's try to vote in the next 20 minutes. Does that sound reasonable? Until 4:10, and then we're moving on with business. Did I hear that correctly? Yes. Okay. So let's take up the labor resolutions. So we're going to start with labor resolution number 3, towards a clear, multifaceted strategy for labor. Could I get someone to motivate that resolution?
Hi, I'll motivate. Ready? My name's Annabelle.
Could I? Oh, sorry, before you begin. And if you need help voting, you can go to either corner in the front to vote on all 3 of those resolutions. Okay.
My name's Annabelle. I'm a member of the Sacramento chapter. I'm also a rank and file member of SEIU 1000, and I'm on the Democratic Socialist Labor Commission Steering Committee. This resolution restructures the DSLC to be comprised of local labor branches, working groups, etc., regardless of members' unionization status, asks for dedicated staffing to help build those branches and working groups, establishes regional worker organizing schools, and subsidizes workers of traditionally marginalized backgrounds to attend, establishes that the overall strategy of the DSLC shall be informed by assessments of local conditions faced by our members, not from the top down. We need a labor strategy that utilizes our strength as a self-organized formation of over 50,000 leftist workers. Our members have the politics, they have the will, they have the energy, and this is energy that simply can't go to waste by implementing a narrow labor strategy. We need to end our habit of top-down efforts that only help self-selecting labor leaders in chapters with already developed labor branches. We need to implement a labor strategy that engages and helps all our members to be workplace leaders and develop the skills to wage strategic campaigns based on their own assessments of their local political economy. I stated in my report that the DSLC lacks capacity, but as is often said, organizing builds capacity. We need to refocus the DSLC onto chapter level member development and education onto building chapter-level labor branches or working groups or what have you to build out an internal organizing structure from below. And we need to demonstrate our commitment to this mission by dedicating resources and staff to building up labor branches and educating ourselves. Our mission should be to empower ourselves as socialist workers so we can wield a credible threat of strike against capitalists in our workplaces, in our neighborhoods, and scale this up to national and global fights. But to enter into this fight for our own class liberation, we can't keep looking where the light is by restricting ourselves to the bounds of the emancipated labor movement. We should engage in rank-and-file union activism, but we also need to organize new ground and new shops, and we need to start now. As we've heard this weekend, every step forward makes our next step possible. Vote yes on 3.
Okay.
Point of privilege.
Yes.
This is Madison, she, her from Harrisburg. I just wanted to remind people that I know during the last one we voted not to take that extra 5 minutes, but I just wanted to remind people that some people have issues processing things, and it would be, we are just perpetuating ableism by not allowing people the time to look at, to consider resolutions that previously weren't on the agenda and then were amended onto one that was. So just keep that in mind going forward, please. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Are there any speakers against resolution number 3?
Chairperson, I'd like to ask a procedural question. There's been a lot of discussion offline, online about the interrelationship between multiple of the labor resolutions. Earlier, there was a point about saying people should only talk about one resolution at a time, but in this instance, I think the body would benefit by combining, for discussion purposes, 3 and 32 for discussion. I'm not asking that they be voted on together or anything like that, but to permit that kind of, I don't know, crosstalk across 2 different resolutions.
Okay. Let me consult the parliamentarian for 1 moment.
discuss two at the same time, because what that does is it puts two separate motions on the floor at the same time. That's a fundamental rule.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so I don't think that we can do that. So again, if you think of Robert's rules as that flow chart, it's like two. You can't, you can't have two of the motions converging into one at the same time. It makes it. While I do understand that these are resolutions about similar topics about what our labor strategy is, we do have to debate these separately. Unless you combine the two. Okay, so yes.
Seeing no one speaking against this, I move to call the question.
Second. I think that there is actually someone.
Oh, thank you.
Are you withdrawing?
I will withdraw.
Okay.
Temporarily.
Comrade.
Hi, everyone. This is Chris, he, him from Cleveland DSA. Just as a member of a smaller chapter, we mentioned earlier that things like the Rust Belt Caucus have been very helpful as opposed to spending a lot more on national staff. This resolution asks to hire another full-time staff member. The cost estimate is over $80,000, and the staff members have not always benefited small chapters. There are, I know I'm trying to stick to the motion, but this motion does not do a labor survey to see what might be more helpful than just hiring a staff member. So it might be more helpful to maybe do a survey of the locals and see what would actually be helpful instead of just throwing $80,000 at another staff member that might not be the most helpful to small chapters. I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there another speaker for?
Hi, my name is Charles Dew, Los Angeles, he, him, his. I want to clarify just first of all that I'm making this comment in support of this labor resolution and not in opposition to any of the other labor resolutions. I support this resolution and completely agree with the language in it that labor is not a finite single-issue campaign, but an ongoing foundational component of our political project. As democratic socialists, we must put labor at the center of our strategy. One crucial thing this resolution allows us to do is to expand our conception of what it means to center labor. In every city and state, there are openings for us to take the lead in efforts to tax the rich and open up opportunities for public sector workers to advance. For example, in LA, the teachers ran an incredibly exciting strike that delivered a crushing blow to the school privatizers. But until we fix our state's regressive taxation system, the teachers' union will face structural limitations on how much they can win. DSA can help lead campaigns in partnership with the labor movement to end the cycle of austerity that has devastated the public sector and the very notion of the public itself. This also plays to our strength, going door to door, talking to people about the connections between working class demands in a coordinated and strategic way. So in the coming years, let's orient all of DSA's work towards the labor movement while expanding our idea of what it means to do labor work. Resolution 3 allows us to do this, and I encourage us to vote in favor.
Okay. Is there a speaker against?
I move to call the question.
Okay. Great. And I hear seconds. All those in favor of ending debate, raise your placards. All those opposed? That carries. So now we're going to vote on resolution number 3 towards a clear, multifaceted strategy for labor. All those in favor, please raise your placards. All those opposed? And that passes. So now we're going to move to resolution number 32.
Comrade Chair, I have a proposal, and that is to extend this debate block to 5:30 p.m. instead of ending at 5.
That's going to take 2/3. Natalie has a comment to make.
Just some information for the delegation as you make this decision. As I understand, we are currently scheduled to continue debate until 4:30. We are scheduled for a break between 4:30 and 5 because our staff and the hotel need to flip this room to get us ready for our big event tonight where we have some exciting speakers and solidarity to discuss. So my recommendation is just that it will become very logistically difficult to carry out the rest of our agenda for tonight if we veer off from the break that we have scheduled. We could, of course, always later at some other point in time in the convention pick up time from another break, though, might be better suited.
Okay. So do you want to keep your motion on the floor?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Is there a second to extend debate to 5:30? There are many seconds. Okay, so this is going to require 2/3 because this is a suspension of the rules. So we are, all those in favor of extending debate to 5:30, please raise your placards. All those opposed? That fails. And so we are going to move to resolution number 32.
With a motion?
Yes, what's your motion?
Chris R., Wichita DSA. Motion to reconsider the STV versus border vote. I voted for that measure.
Okay, there's been a motion to reconsider using STV and BORDA. What fun. There's a second. This takes 2/3. Well,
No, actually, it doesn't. Not if you voted on the prevailing side.
Oh, okay.
Did you vote on the prevailing side?
And you voted to use STV
Yes,
instead of
I
BORDA?
voted in the affirmative.
Okay.
So, let me consult real quick. So,
Okay.
which resolution is this?
This was part of the rules.
I don't understand.
I know.
This is part of the convention rules?
No,
I didn't, because I didn't hear him. I thought he was going after the resolution.
No.
Someone asked me to do this, so
what's he
here we go.
trying to do?
He's essentially motion to reconsider one of the amendments
Yep.
to the convention rules that we adopted yesterday.
Oh, I
Don't
see.
those take 2/3?
In that case, it would.
Yeah, okay.
No, I take that back. Please forgive me. To put it before the body again would only take a majority vote.
Okay.
To change it would take 2/3.
Got it. Okay. So I've consulted with the parliamentarian to consider your motion to reconsider requires a simple majority, so 50% plus 1. To change it back requires 2/3.
So it's not debatable.
That's not debatable. So all those in favor of sorry, can you please get to the microphone?
Chris, he, him, Cleveland. Since this was not on our agreed upon agenda, don't we need to suspend the rules to add this to the agenda to reconsider, which would require a 2/3?
So I think you can reconsider items. It's procedural, and it was on the agenda, so we're just taking it back on the agenda. It's not breaking the agenda. Does that make sense? Since it was already there. Okay, so this is going to take a majority to reconsider it. All those in favor of reconsidering the use of STV BORDA, please raise your placards. All those opposed? That fails. Okay, so we are now going to move to resolution number 32.
Point of information.
Labor's Sorry, can I please finish my sentence before people jump in with that? We're going to move to resolution number 32, labor strategy and the DSLC. I will now recognize your point of information.
Point of information. Hypothetically, if we get to the end of this meeting and we have not completed all of the resolutions, what becomes of them?
The resolutions may be referred to the NPC. Constitution and bylaw changes only can be handled by this body.
So we might not be able to address those at all. That is correct.
Okay, so now we're going to move to resolution number 32, labor strategy and the DSLC. Is there a speaker in favor?
Yes.
Hi, everyone. My name is Marcia Sheeher, New York City Labor Branch. I'm also an NPC candidate on the Bread and Roses slate, one of the co-authors of the resolution, and also on the Democratic Socialist Labor Commission. So I have spent my entire adult life as a socialist building working class power. In my experience as a rank and file and as a staffer, I believe a militant working class is central to socialist struggle, and I'm excited that we have such an opportunity to win the working class to socialism. We see a resurgence of militancy in the teachers' strikes, the most hopeful development in decades, but 89% of the working class is not in unions and not fighting back. So how can DSA reach out to our fellow workers, find on-the-ground leaders who already exist in every workplace, and work alongside them to organize workers to fight the boss? It's when people are in motion fighting their employer and even the state that they become open to bigger ideas, including socialist ideas. We need to find the socialists of tomorrow. Our resolution doesn't attempt to go into everything we think DSA could and should be doing. We focused on the additional help the National DSLC can give to local labor working groups. In our view, that aid should be focused on what we call the rank and file strategy, a way for the left to connect to the rest of the working class. The rank and file strategy is all about finding that layer of rank and file leaders who are already respected by their coworkers and who can become organizer leaders in the workplace. It recognizes that most unions today are led badly, with officers more attuned to the needs of employers than of members. So we know that members will often have to be fighting on two fronts, both against the boss and to transform their unions. Luckily, we have great models for this type of work, including, for example, the Teamsters for Democratic Union. So our resolution says the DSLC should encourage members to take union jobs and that chapters should collectively determine which jobs they will encourage their members to look for. Of course, not everyone is going to take a new union job, so we need other ways for chapters and individuals to be connected to where working people are in motion. We want chapters to support strikes and organizing drives, and the DSLC should produce materials. All of this work is with the goal of connecting socialists to workers who have the potential to move. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there a speaker against?
My name is Michael, she, her pronouns. I'm the co-chair of New Orleans DSA and a member of Collective Power Network. We just passed our labor resolution. So at our last convention in 2017, we took a huge step forward by forming the Democratic Socialist Labor Commission, but the resolution which formed the commission essentially gave it a kitchen sink mandate, where they were tasked with far more than they could actually accomplish. They were directed to focus on rank and file work, organized political education, a ton of stuff. So voting yes on this resolution, R32, threatens to undo the very ambitious goals we have just outlined with the previous proposal for a multifaceted labor strategy. Our resolution will give the focus of the work of DSLC and the flexibility to chapters who want to pursue new organizing as well as rank and file work, both by giving more structure and focus to the national body. My chapter does labor organizing in New Orleans, and we live in a state with less than 5% union membership. After Hurricane Katrina, the teachers' union was broken, and the school system is now 100% privatized. So how can you tell me that we need to use the rank and file strategy to organize teachers when we literally can't do that in New Orleans? So my comrades who are in favor of passing this proposal alongside the previous one will say that our resolution that we just passed is a structural proposal, and theirs is the political one, and therefore they're totally compatible. But I would dispute that idea. I believe that rooting our organization with member workers and building power and credibility amongst working people by leading and winning workplace struggles, as Resolution 3 does, is a political idea, just as restricting our labor work to a rank-and-file tactic superimposed on scale that leaves the majority of our members behind, as this proposal does, is a political one. So this proposal would roll back the clock another 2 years to a labor commission overburdened, hamstrung, and fundamentally disconnected from what is happening in chapters on the ground. So I encourage everyone to vote no on R32.
Okay. Is there another speaker for? And you're probably going to have to move the mic.
Point of information, real quick.
Yeah, on point.
So I'm just curious, I guess this is for like the chair or the people up front. The last resolution we just voted on created a labor staff position, essentially, and this one also does that. So if we pass this, are those responsibilities combined under one labor staff person, or are we forced to double it and then we have 2 labor staff people?
So I'll say 2 things. My understanding is that it would be one staff person. I think essentially what they're both calling on is for a staffer to serve the labor priority. I do think that by adopting the second after adopting the first may potentially expand or, the duties of that staff person, but I don't think that it means we would hire a second person.
Thank you.
Okay, is there another speaker for?
Yes. I'm Robert. I'm from Louisville, DSA, he, him, a public school teacher, a rank and file union member and organizer, a member of the Bread and Roses Caucus. I'm speaking in favor of Resolution 32. When my state's reactionary governor and legislature initiated a multi-pronged attack on public education in my city, my southern city. Teachers in my city, in my state, and elsewhere answered the call. We fought back. We organized wildcat strikes in 2 consecutive years. We forged solidarity with public employees throughout the state. We did our best to make our messaging robust and radical, and we had some victories despite resistance from our own union leadership and the established difficulties of organizing anywhere, especially difficulties that are exacerbated when you live in a red state, a putative red state. And there were times in which, we really felt like we could have used some support from DSA, from the DSLC, and the DSLC was, to some degree, not able to handle what the red state revolt and the teacher movement really could have demanded from it. So this was able to work, though. We were able to do what we did because we had a cadre of engaged anti-capitalist teachers and we had an established union. That's the rank and file strategy. Having teachers who already had the politics, who already had the jobs, made our ability to organize just smooth. There's no way to do this in so many fields. The Red State Revolt, the teacher revolts, they capture the hearts and minds of everyone, of all of us. I'm inspired, I'm transformed. What we have to do is move forward, though, see where we are now. The DSLC was a skeleton before we passed Resolution 3. This and Resolution 36 are meat on the bones. Meat on the bones. To be who we are, to be who we say we are, to be who we say we want to be, we need both these. We need the strategy, and we need the DSLC to be empowered. Thank you.
Okay, is there another speaker against?
Hi, folks. Francisco Sendejas from LA. He, him. Hi, all. I'm a member of the DSLC steering committee. This is my 14th year in the labor movement. So we just passed Resolution number 3, a multifaceted labor strategy for our very multi-tendency organization, which has strong chapters in cities with relatively high union density and strong unions. But we also have chapters in cities with negligible union density. We're organizing workers to engage and struggle will practically start from zero. And one of the reasons that we had such overwhelming support for Resolution 3 was because it asks our chapters to study their membership and study where their members work and study the local economy and the local conditions, and with the support of the DSLC, determine the most strategic intervention that they can take to build a militant workers' movement. And some of our chapters, as part of this, will find it highly strategic to take jobs in already union workplaces, like folks on the yes side are describing, and they should, because that's a critical component of our labor work. But under 3, other chapters will determine that their members organizing a union in their current workplaces is the right plan for them, or that picking up and salting in targeted workplaces makes sense for their membership and for their local context, or a little bit of all of these strategies, depending on the local context. So if we've got 3, what's the reason I have this? Are we to say that this is the preferred strategy, that we want a multifaceted plan, but really we want it to be mostly this? Resolution 32 narrows the scope of what Resolution 3 aims to do, contradicting the multifaceted spirit of Resolution 3. So additionally, the resolution describes the work that the staff person assigned to do it would do, rather than allowing the elected DSLC and the elected NPC to direct that staffer's work. So let's acknowledge that no, the entirety of the transformation that we need in the labor movement will not come from pursuing one single strategy, and that we should acknowledge it as one arrow in the quiver, but not the only one. Vote no on 32. Thanks.
Okay.
Call the question.
Can I motion to extend debate by 5 minutes? This is a fundamental question for DSA, and we really need to hear out both sides.
Extend debate by 5 minutes from what baseline?
Okay, let me change it. Extend debate with 2 people from each side.
Right now, we don't actually have a limit on debate, so I'm going to rule. How about we just, until someone calls the question, you can.
Call the question.
Okay, there has been, sorry, where did the call the question come from?
Right here.
Okay. Okay, so if you want more debate, vote no. If you want.
Point of order.
Yeah.
Over here,
where?
sorry.
Okay.
Dave Pinkham, he, him, Austin. It's been pointed out multiple times that members must be recognized by the chair in order to call the question. Thank you.
Okay, yes. Is there a call to question?
Call the question.
Okay, so there's been a proposal to end debate. All those in, is there a second? All those in favor of ending debate, please raise your placards. All opposed? That fails, so we are going to continue debate. Is there another speaker for?
Sure. Bianca Cunningham, NYC DSA, she, her, Afro-Socialist Caucus. Also on staff at Labor Notes. So I know a lot of you know me, but a lot of you don't. I actually come out of unorganized workplace. I used to work in a retail store and organize 7 stores to become union. And I think that the allegation that somehow this proposal doesn't support organizing the unorganized is false. It's bad faith. That's not what we're saying. We recognize the need for a multifaceted strategy. As somebody who's been fired for organizing a union and had the experience with a union who had almost unlimited resources to give us, who gave us like press, who lifted us up. This shit is hard, y'all. And I think that we really need to recognize that DSA is not necessarily in a space in this very moment to take on the lion's share of organizing the unorganized. What I think that we can do, and what had been valuable to me, is like relying on networks like Labor Notes, relying on folks' experience from across the organization, continuing to show up for picket solidarity like we were asked to do this afternoon, continuing to mentor organizing committees that are coming out of small shops. I do that with several shops in New York City. Nobody's advocating that we don't do that work. But what we are saying is that we do need a focus, and as somebody who's entered an already established union, coming into a union that doesn't have their shit together is not a good way to radicalize people and to win people over to our sides. And so we really need to be focused, I think, in our efforts, and also remember that this is hard work that, you know, we can and will do, but we have to be realistic about what our capacity is in this moment. So I urge all of you to actually vote for this. Thank you.
Okay. Is there another speaker against?
Comrade Chair, I have a point of order. There's been some back and forth about whether this resolution modifies Resolution 3 that we just passed. Do we have an answer from that?
Does not modify the previous resolution. Is there another speaker against?
I'm Travis Donahoe, Knoxville area DSA, he, him, his. I'm opposing Resolution 32 because we have just passed Resolution 3 to guide our labor work. Resolution 3 is a strategy. Resolution 32 is a laundry list. When you have too many priorities, you effectively have no priorities. Passing both resolutions will dilute Resolution 3's emphasis on restructuring DSLC so it is comprised of chapter labor formations. We can reasonably expect that the new DSLC leadership will look substantially different from the current leadership. Shouldn't that new leadership have a chance to develop a program rather than having it imposed by Resolution number 32? Much of DSL's work has been good, notably the excellent Why Socialists Should Become Teachers pamphlet, but there is room for improvement, especially its near total focus on workers with collective bargaining rights. I am a retired labor union organizer, having spent 20 years working for CWA, AFT, and NEA, all of it in the South. 1/4 of the U.S. workforce has no legal right to collectively bargain. Hundreds of thousands of Southern public workers are prohibited by state and local law from collectively bargaining. When I signed up to participate in DSLC, I was confronted with a blank which read, collective bargaining unit. Not industry, not workplace, but collective bargaining unit. When I complained to DSLC that this language was exclusionary towards Southern public workers, agricultural workers, alt labor, and all workers with no collective bargaining rights, I was ignored. So please give the incoming DSLC leadership a chance to correct this oversight and to develop their own program without drastically circumscribing their latitude. Please vote against Resolution number 32. Thank you.
Okay, so is there another speaker for?
Call the question.
There's been a motion to call the question. Is there a second? All those in favor of ending debate, please raise your placards. And all opposed? That carries. and we are going to debate this motion.
May I make a point of information, Comrade Chair?
Yes.
I would like to ask the chair whether a member of the youth section of the Democratic Socialists of America, which just recently recommitted to this strategy a few days ago and committed to this more than a year ago, has gotten a chance to report on how it's gone in that section.
Sorry, this is debate. This is debate. Okay, so we are going to move into a vote since
challenge the decision of the chair.
Okay, there's been a challenge to the decision of the chair. So
the call the question requires
a
a two-thirds vote, and that didn't look two-thirds.
Okay. Could I ask some of the people who voted no on that side to actually get further this way so that it's clearer? Oh, that's true.
I asked Natalie about that. She said it was just sort of a recommendation for.
Okay. Okay, let's just call for the vote again. Okay, so can I see that again? So all those in favor of closing debate, please raise your placards. All those opposed? I think that, yeah, that still carries. Okay, so we are going to close debate. And so we're voting on resolution number 32, labor strategy in the DSLC. All those in favor of passing resolution 32, please raise your placards. All those opposed? That fails. Okay. Okay. Should we, we'll do the online voting thing again.
Can I make a recommendation, Madam Chair? It's me, Natalie. We have 8 minutes left since in previous online ballots, people have had quite a bit more time. I would say we'll leave this ballot open until we convene again for the next session tomorrow.
Okay, sounds good. Okay.
Madam Chair, may I make a
Hold
point
on.
of...
Hold on, could we...
May I make a point of personal privilege?
Mhm.
I would like to request people speaking over here to respect the fact that this is actually the disabled people's seating area. When people in support of this resolution were over here, it caused myself and a couple other disabled comrades a great deal of anxiety. I felt like I was kind of in a mob. I'm very glad that you're passionate about this resolution. That's great. I've actually been seizing through this portion of the debate. I'm having a seizure right now. It's really difficult for me to say. But please respect the request of the marshals. I know they asked you to respect that. All 40 of you, or however many of you were up there, we're not going to get the chance to speak anyways. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we are going to,
Can
hold on. So we are going to put up the link for online voting. We're going to leave that.
Can I appeal that decision?
It's just a recommendation. The chair
Okay.
the chair.
Can I appeal the chair's decision though?
I don't even remember what the decision was.
To vote online, like to
oh,
move
okay.
it to move it online. I think we should all decide to do that.
You don't want the online vote.
Oh, until tomorrow. All right, never mind. Just withdrawn.
Okay. Again, please just think twice before you start making procedural motions. It will make things go way faster and easier and less painful. Okay, so we're going to vote online. It's going to be open, and we'll announce the decision tomorrow.
How about we say till midnight? That way we have the
Okay.
results before we convene tomorrow.
So vote before midnight tomorrow. Or today, 11:59 today. So the link is going to be posted very soon, and we will announce the result tomorrow.
I appeal the decision of the chair to keep the voting open until midnight tonight.
Okay. When would you like it to be open until?
I would like it to be open until for 1 hour.
Okay.
The reason being so that people aren't whipping votes after after debate floor.
Okay, great. So how about let's leave it open for 1 hour until, let's say, 5:25. Are there any objections to leaving it open just until 5:25? All right, seeing none, we're going to leave the online voting open until 5:25 today.
I was trying to get to the mic to raise a point of order. I'm very sorry. I'm locked out in a DDoS attack complaint from Bitly or from OpaVote, and I haven't even been able to vote on the last one.
Okay.
I'm not sure that we'll have that resolved in an hour.
Can you go to the tech table to receive help? Okay, what is yours?
I would, just to add on to that, I would request that all the votes be privileged the same and not have extended periods of voting time, not just for this one, but for future ones, if it comes to that. So if we could just have the same periods.
Yep, we'll do it for an hour every single time. Well, do we? No. Okay, we will define the period of time for you to vote in every online vote. Okay.
Just so you know, you run the risk here of everybody getting together and debating still in an unorganized way as they vote. Because your meeting will be over. Just so you're aware of that.
I know. Okay, so we have 5 more minutes.
Point of information, Madam Chair?
I would like to finish my sentence, please. Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. I would propose that we recess until tomorrow because I don't think that we're going to be able to get through organizing the unorganized resolution number 67 in 5 minutes.
I am so sorry. I wanted to let you finish. I'm so sorry. But I just wanted to make a motion to suspend the rules and extend the debate and cancel the fundraiser because we all came out here to do these things and we really want to vote on it. We're all very excited. Is that okay? How do you guys want to do that?
Okay. There's been a motion to cancel the fundraiser and
I'm really sorry.
And there are seconds. This is going to take 2/3 vote to cancel the fundraiser. All those in favor of canceling the fundraiser, raise your placards. All those opposed, that fails. Okay, so...
Point of clarification, please. Yeah, thank you. Or information, one of the two. Either way, maybe it's also a point of personal privilege. Some of us came from very far away. We're here to vote on stuff. So what are we going to do about all of the rest of the stuff that we have to vote on? Because some of us have planes to catch tomorrow, and we can't just reschedule that, and some of us don't have money to, add on to that. So what are we proposing to do?
Yes.
Point of personal privilege. Some of us have certain disabilities that do not allow us to stay in here for hours on end debating these resolutions. We need some sort of a break. We need to call it a day because some of us need time to recharge. We cannot go on like this forever. I am one of them. This is what we were talking about earlier with the lack of accessibility in DSA. We need to take these into consideration, people.
Could you imagine doing this forever? Oh my God. Okay, so tomorrow...
So yeah, my question was, what are we planning on doing about all the stuff that's left?
Yep, so the sections, so the sections that are remaining include housing, regional structure, criminal justice reform, and governance, harassment and grievance, and political resolutions. The resolutions can be referred to the NPC. The Constitution and bylaw changes cannot. So I think that the resolutions and amendments group that has put together the agenda may get together in the next couple of hours to figure out how to restructure the agenda to try to at least get to the things that cannot be referred to the NPC. Could I see just like maybe, could I see how much support there is for that?
Can I make a motion?
Hold on. Sorry, can I see how much support there is for that versus no? This is a very informal straw poll. Yes. Hold on. Okay, here's what I'm trying to do right now. So I am trying to gauge your support or opposition to the resolutions and amendments team looking at the agenda to figure out what can be referred to the NPC versus what cannot be referred to the NPC, so that we can come back with a modified version of the agenda So this is an informal straw poll. So all those, how many people support the resolutions and amendments team reworking the agenda before tomorrow's debate? And then how many people oppose that? Okay,
I have another point of clarification.
So we're going to try to rework it, and we'll bring it to you tomorrow.
Just, again, another quick question. Is it possible for us to do these votes online somehow, all of them, if we can't stay?
I am going to refer that to Natalie.
No, because you have to debate them to vote on them, and we can't, you know, we have to vote on what we have time to debate. And this is, again, this is just me making an observation, and you certainly don't have to act on it. But what is slowing us down is the nonstop procedural motioning, points of everything. If we do less of them, we will have more time to make more decisions.
Yes.
Point of information.
I have a point of personal privilege.
For tomorrow morning.
I'll allow it, yeah.
It's hard to see the fact that the link isn't DLSC but DSLC. Can we have it put out in a way that's a little bit more visible? From the back, I could barely see it. The fact that the link is in fact bit.ly/DSA DSLC vote.
Okay,
It's not DLSC.
Okay, so in the future, if you could bring your points of privilege.
Or the link doesn't work.
Okay, if you could bring those points to the tech table, that would be great. It's now 4:30, so I'm going to ask that we recess for the day. And so, oh, sorry, the link is bit.ly/all caps DSA DLSC and then capital V vote. Okay, so it's now 4:31. We're going to evacuate this room, take a 30-minute break, and then we'll be back for a fundraiser, an event with Linda Sarsour and other cool people. So we'll reconvene tomorrow.
Just one brief announcement before you scatter to the winds about our agenda. We are scheduled to have a fundraising reception in this room from 5 to 6:30. I hope you all attend. I won't judge you if you don't. And then we will reconvene in this room from 7 to 8:30 to deliberate on who should be the next DSA National Political Committee. There will be important announcements during that session about how that you do that. So I suggest if you plan to voting in the NPC election that you arrive promptly in advance of 7 o'clock, a few minutes early to get situated.
Hey, can I pretty please informally say a thing on behalf of disabled people and as a disabled person? You're welcome to keep leaving, by the way. You don't have to listen to me. It's not like...
But you should!
I can't speak for every single person here with an invisible disability, but I know I personally have a disability where my joints dislocate, and it hurts. And I've been sitting in that chair for so many hours listening to people argue about procedure. It's really frustrating. I get it, all right? And I know we need more time. We were never going to have enough time, but please, for the love of God, stop extending this shit on us. It hurts, and I need to lay down. And I'm not the only one, I'm sure. And I understand your frustration, but like, please just, could you not?
Yes, okay.
Okay.
Thank you. So
My-
democracy takes discipline. We'll see you tomorrow. Well, we'll see you at the
Can we get
fundraiser.
the results for the previous 3 resolutions that were passed, please?
We don't